Well, I finally did it. I sprayed this section of the yard with Roundup. I'm going to kill it off and try to replant it. I tried to renovate it last year, didn't work too well. Really struggled this year, and it needs to have new grass. So I'm starting over. I don't remember what today is. But anyway, we finally had some cool weather with no rain, and actually it's almost September, so I'll give this about a week at least to die off and then go from there. I can't wait any sooner. I can't wait any later to spray this out, because otherwise it's going to be too late to seed by the time this finally dies and gets prepped. So planning to do turf type tall fescue, elite type, because this area gets a lot of sun, and I want it to be pretty tolerant, but we'll see. Yeah, so I've got an 18% solution of glyphosate that I diluted. It said to use 6 ounces per gallon for 300 square feet. This is about 1,000 square feet, a little under. So I did 2 6s and 1 4, and I put it in 2 gallons because I know my sprayer will use about 2 gallons to get down on this amount of grass. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Pretty dead. So here's an update. Last weekend I started spraying. I did 1 application of a full strength glyphosate Roundup application, and then after a few days it was pretty clear, so I only did 1 direction, which means that you'll get missed lines, and you can kind of see right here where there used to be a line, maybe up there too, and then some green over here. Some of these roots are still kind of firm. So anyway, basically, I think so. Today's Sunday. On Thursday, I used my spot sprayer and I got some of these lines, but I was working at night and couldn't really see. I only applied a gallon. So then yesterday, so it takes a while for glyphosate to actually work and go down to the root and then cause the plant to die. So the grass here is still in the process of dying, which is probably why there's still some green, but it's getting late. It's September 2nd already, and so I have to get seed down, and I came to the crossroads of like, okay, well, do I chance it, put some topsoil on here and risk that some of this is still viable, and then next spring it comes up and pollutes the turf seed that I plant, or should I just do a preemptive additional spray? And that's what I did. So yesterday afternoon I did another spray in this direction just to make sure everything was coated. I think it was a half dose because that's all I had left in Roundup. I'm also noticing that I have a lot of moss over here, so that's kind of interesting. This is a shady area that actually gets a lot of moisture. So anyway, all that to say, I still have some green. I have extra glyphosate on here, but I'm running out of time. So I'm going to do the topsoil, very light coating. Actually, well, I need to cut it down even more. I went as low as my push mower will go. Now I'm going to use the rider mower, which I think actually grazes it a little bit better. So I'm going to do that, put down some topsoil and get seed in here, because like I said, I'm running out of time. In a month it's going to be October, and by the end of September our temperatures definitely change. Mid-October we can get the first overnight freeze, so I've got to make sure that I can get the seed to a maturity level soon enough. So 1 load of topsoil, not like completely full, maybe half full, but it's pretty heavy, so I don't want to overload my lawnmower. Goes about this far, so now I'll use sort of this as about how far I need to space out other loads. Okay, the next steps are taking fruition. So I scalped it while it was dead. I had the Roundup applications. Yesterday I finally finished all the topsoil. Boy, that was a project. It got complicated a little bit over here because I found some roots, and once I started digging up one, there was a whole section. That's actually why apparently this part of the sidewalk is too high, besides the fact that some of these panels have sunken. But you can see now this is actually a little bit too low. I actually want it under, I don't want it as high as the sidewalk, because otherwise water just like drains all the way across and then doesn't soak in at all. So I want it, at least if there's going to be rainwater, it'll soak in here. So this is actually a little bit too low, but it is very high, or very low compared to that, but that actually needs to be redone at some point. Anyway, So today I got the Turf Type Tall Fescue Elite brand from Ryan Knorr down. And here's an example of how much I've put down. Not a ton, I actually didn't measure it. And I do have more. I'm saving some of it so that I can do a reseed and a fix-up in the spring. So that just gives you an idea of how deep it is. I went by once over all of this with a rotary spreader, which I have loaded up there. So I did a rotary spreader once just to make sure I didn't know how fast it was going to go out. So I made sure everything got at least a little bit of seed. I probably spread out a couple pounds, I think. Maybe just a pound. But I still had some in the bucket, so I went over that again. And then I went through, and so I didn't go too near the edges because it just throws seed into the other areas, and then I have to weed out the grass. The grass always grows better in the shrubs. So then I went around the perimeter by hand. So this thing, you know, just spins and casts the seeds on both sides. It's better for granular fertilizers and stuff like that. But it still works. But it throws it out for from both sides. You can get drop seeders, which actually drop. They don't cast. And then you can go right up next to an edge, and you know that you're not going to be throwing seed into the bushes. It'll just stop right there. I don't have one of those. Maybe I'll get one eventually, but we'll see how this project goes. So after I did that, then I went through and I did a hand fill cast. Just, you know, for each area along. I did one row that way and then one row here and then around the corner. Just casting by hand to make sure I got everywhere. Let's see, how much seed do I have? I do have quite a bit left. Yeah, I might do one more hand casting and then I'll water it. Alright, so I did another hand cast. And so it's kind of plus or minus. That's about the goal right there. That's pretty good. I would say that's about the minimum for bunch type grass. So yeah, we'll let that go. See how. Two more things to follow up on too. So one, I need to get some granular turf builder, like a 10-10-10 fertilizer to put down, so this has all the nutrients that it needs. Like I said, I need to put that netting up. Oh yeah, I need to set up a sprinkler so that it will get watered 3 times a day. I did the tenacity treatment yesterday, so I put that down right after I put the topsoil down. So none of that, and then I did a watering yesterday to water that into the ground, so the seed is on top of that. I didn't actually spray the seed with tenacity. It should be fine. I've done that with ryegrass seed, and this should be fine too. But I wanted the tenacity pre-emergent, and I was like, well, I'll just put that down a day before, and because I really want it to affect the soil. I really don't care what it does. I want it to have no effect on the seed, so anyway. And then, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the timing. So today is the first, today is actually Labor Day. And so first week of September, we had a pretty significant heat wave this weekend, which I knew about. And that's fine for putting seed down. It's not good if you get seedlings popping up and then a few weeks later you have this crazy heat wave. So I really should have gotten the seed in earlier, because I would like 8 weeks before the first potential overnight freeze, but I didn't get it in, and maybe that was good, because if I had sprouted stuff this week, it might have been not so great. So this way, I'm seeding when the ground is warm on the last heat wave this year, and now from here on out, it should be cooler temperatures, usually not as humid, so should be premium growing conditions, and yeah, hopefully it'll just really be vibrant before winter comes. Well, the seed was down yesterday, and now today there's threat of thunderstorms and maybe 1/3 of an inch of rain. Probably not, but I did get the straw netting down. This was one roll, a surprise. This is probably 50, forget. I think this lot is about 30 something feet this way, and then maybe less than 30 that way, so it's probably at least 50 feet. I thought it was going to be like 15 feet long or something, but so I had enough for pretty much all of the base edges. I figured that was more important than up there. And yeah, I got the sprinkler on a timer here, so we should be good to go. That's about right.